self-care is not selfish. It's actually the biggest part of showing love that you could offer to your family, your friends, and your community.
As women, we nurture and take care of the world. And so it's just so important to make your health, your self-care numero uno. So
get around people who are going where you want to go and who are where you want to be. And that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be in real estate, so I got around people who were doing things in real estate that I wanted to do.
So you might not be able to move things around or change what happened to you, but if you can change the way that you see it and how you're reacting to it, there's a way.
Just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 a.m. and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do.
You don't want the government to dictate or a judge to dictate how your hard-earned sacrifice and wealth gets distributed to your family and your loved ones.
Our culture is embedded in American culture. There are people who come to America and engage in American culture, which is Black culture. So Juneteenth is really about Black culture, and it's about celebrating us, celebrating the different diasporas of Black people, even the dialects.
You need a full-time job for health insurance is actually a myth. As a travel nurse in New York, I used to get so stressed out about health insurance in between contracts until I found out about New York State of Health. They make it easier, more affordable, and are a trusted resource to accessing and managing your health insurance. And what's great is that there's a plan for everyone. And enrollment assisters and brokers are here to help online, by phone, or even help in person. So check out New York State of Health to learn more and stay up to date on your health insurance needs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Thursday, and we are being joined today for a very special day. I want to say this is the Thursday before the week of everything that goes into planning of Juneteenth. I am here in New York City, y'all, so I made it here safely, and I'm excited. We have been doing all of the things to get prepared for the festival and for our Black King celebration, which is where we honor our men. And I'll tell you a little bit of a backstory behind this. The reason why I had started with creating the Black King celebration, this is a 5-year-old celebration that we've been doing out of our 17 years of inception of the Juneteenth Festival. And during that time, I would, Mother's Day comes around, and Mother's Day, everyone who's a female, it could be a dog, and they'd be like, "Happy Mother's Day," and I'd be like, "I don't know, that's the dog." But when Father's Day comes around, it's always a conjunction. If you're a good dad, if this, if that, and I'm like, why do we have this double standard? And so I wanted to put something in place to highlight our men, because they are the backbones of our community. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, they are the crux. When they were removed out of our houses, when they were sent away to fight, when drugs came in, like all of those things helped to destroy our families and our households and our communities and to tear us apart. And so my goal is, how can we bring us back together? How do we find means of unity? And this is my small part of being able to do so. I don't think it's small, because I think it's very big. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that big piece is, because empowerment is really powerful. And it's something that is missing out of our community. We don't do enough of it. We don't do enough pouring into each other. We do a lot of taking from each other and competing with each other. And that's not the way to be unified. So today we are going to be talking with some of our brothers, some of the men that we are going to be honoring, a small segment of the gentlemen who are going to be representing the grand scale of individuals who will be in the room on June the 18th, next Thursday. So I am going to bring first and foremost to the stage Mr. True Osborne. He is a multidisciplinary creative. He's an educator. international vocalist. All right. Experienced designer dedicated to empowering communities through artistry, healing, and cultural expression. Hey, hey, how you doing, True?
Hi, how are you, Athenia? I'm really honored to be here today.
I'm good. I'm good. And is that golf that you got in the background there?
And I love to have visuals behind me whenever I have an experience like this. So you may see some outer space, you may see some golf, you may see some Jalen Brunson in the Knicks.
Okay. We were
Shameless
talking about
plug.
the Knicks earlier. So
Shameless plug. It's
I like
NYC
it.
all day, you know. We're very excited to be here. And I hope everyone at home is doing well also.
Love it, love it. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So next we are going to bring to the stage Mr. Samuel Pierre. He is an entrepreneur, educator. He's an author. I love that. All these educated Lynn. I love it. I love it. Consultant and executive director of the Haitian American Caucus, committed to economic development, business growth, and community empowerment. Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Athenia. Thank you for having me. Good to see you, True. I'm so excited. Thank you for allowing me to be able to share some things with your audience today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Welcome. Next up, we're going to have Angus Fleury Fisher to the stage, a person who I've known, I think, all of his life, right? A community architect, nonprofit executive, land trust advocate, and grassroots leader whose work has transformed neighborhoods through civic engagement, economic justice, and community resilience. Welcome, Angus. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I believe this conversation is going to be real enjoyable and real a ladder of building block that our communities can thrive and move forward in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know we have a couple of others. I think they're having some tech issues. So as soon as they come back on, we'll bring them in the space, but we'll get started where we are today with who we have on the stage. So to get us started, I'm going to start us all off so that we can get to know you all just a little bit more. If you can share what it is that you feel makes you special. And I'm going to start there. What do you feel that it is that makes you special? I'm going to start with you, Sam.
Wow, what makes me special? I think well, special, unique, or my competitive edge. I guess I think God has blessed me with a gift of being able to listen to people and listen to their concerns, and be able to do what we call in my network math fast, right, and be able to scan through the Rolodex in my brain really quickly. Okay, oh boom, okay, let's let me get Angus. Angus does X, Y, and Z. Maybe he could be helpful in this situation, right? I think that comes from being growing up in the church, right, and learning how to do everything, right. Whether I was the youth leader, I was the pianist for my choir, I was the janitor when I needed to be, right. I had to do the prayer, or finding out you're doing the prayer while the pastor says it on the stage. All right, we're gonna have Brother Sam come do the prayer. Like, what? Nobody okay, like, what are you gonna say? No, right? So the kind of like I credit growing up in church for teaching you to be able to solve problems quickly and understand the importance of being able to give right back to the community, and also receiving as the reciprocation in the form of giving.
Yeah, I love that, Sam. I totally agree with you with that. That finding out you about to go sing a song or you about to go do something, and you turn around and be like, oh, that's me. Okay, hold on. Let me get myself together. So it definitely helped that whole what they call it, that motto of you got to be ready, don't get ready. Like, you always got to be ready.
Stay ready.
Definitely I hear and I appreciate that. Angus, we're gonna throw it over to you. What do you envision makes you special?
What I envision makes me special, or what I call my superpower, is the learned lessons through life, the resilience of all that I've been through and how I was creatively able to turn it into a nonprofit organization so that it can benefit and support other people. So that superpower of being isolated, feeling alone, feeling like there's no assistance, no support, no help out there. The resources just aren't there for you. You're not made of this earth type situation. And to learn once you start building the village, once you start collecting and connecting with other people, you find out that you're not so isolated. You find out that the key to the problem is collaborative connection and working together, but that's not taught to us. In our communities, it's taught to us me, my, I'm, and what's mine is mine, and I don't need anybody's support or help. But that's far from the truth. And that's one of the biggest struggles in the Black community, especially when it comes to men. We have been broken down so much to just say that we have to, we supposed to, and without stopping to get checked out on or who's checking on us.
Like I say, who's checking on the strong people, right? Just because you're strong, and the men, it's like, oh, you man up, like that term. I have 2 boys myself, and it bothers me when I hear people like, oh, man up. I be like, what does that mean to man up? Does that mean to just like not let anything like not let it sit with you, to kind of like try to shrug it off? It's like you can never shrug things off. Like it's gonna sit somewhere. And it builds up, and that's where people, that's why we have all these felons and stuff like that, because they were told to man up so much that they didn't have nowhere to release it. So thank you for sharing that, Angus. And yeah, we don't grow in isolation, we grow in community, and that is the biggest part. And I'm glad that that's something that you bring to the space. True, talk to us. What makes you special?
Thank you, Athene. I think at the grassroots, what makes me special is my heart for community and to see people grow creatively, right? Like I like to consider myself a catalyst. And so when I show up in a space, I like that space to catch fire very quickly, right? And I think the fire that we're all looking for is one of belonging, connection, to deepen first and foremost our connection to ourselves and to the divine. And then I think to further that connection into the world, like how do we impact the world around us with who we were divinely created to be? And so the work that I do is essentially to support people in learning how to develop and deploy their gifts so that they can have meaningful experiences in this life and accept that they are the masterpiece that they're looking for. Right? Like the first masterpiece that people get to witness is they themselves. And so I'm really hoping that people get to have more of what we're experiencing right now on this call. This is one of the greatest forms of creative collaboration that I've seen in a very long time. And I've been able to experience all of these men in my own creative development and their work and their impact. And, I think that's what Juneteenth is really all about. It's about legacy and about creative connection. And so I'm very honored to be celebrated for the Kumba Award for Creative Leadership this year. Thank you all so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I want you to remember that, because I'm going to ask y'all later about what Juneteenth means to you. So to write that down somewhere, keep that in the back of your head.
Ingrained in my heart. Yeah.
Bring it back up again. We got some people following us. We got some, I'm going to go jump in the chat for a minute. We got Taisha, honoring our kings. They are the backbones of our community, all bold like letters. I wanted to say too, when you were talking, it was funny because you had these hands behind you that was pointing to you like
that's a fact. I was looking at it, I was like, hold on,
did
you set that up?
It said like this.
Yeah,
like,
no,
that's
those. Yeah, I love those features. Sometimes it's the balloons. Sometimes I love it.
You know, I was given one instruction today. My only instruction was to have fun. So if that's what you're getting from my little rectangle, then I'm doing my job, man. I'm
That's right.
celebrating all of the artists today, all of the weird kids, all of the people having fun whistling while they work, you know.
Let's
I
go.
love that. You spoke about joy earlier, Athenia, you know, like, and the necessity for us to be unified to one another. And I think that the arts are uniquely designed to be able to create that opportunity. So I'm really I'm beyond honored to be able to represent the arts within this collective, even though so many of us have creativity built into what we're doing. You know, it really means a lot to be able to stand, you know, at the intersection of arts and education and community, and to see how that's going to impact our future. This is the time. It's time to put it all back on NYC. That's my motto.
Put it back on NYC. The Knicks is bringing it home. We got the
Go.
FIFA World Cups bringing it
Bring
home.
it
We
on
got
home.
Juneteenth
Yeah.
bringing it home. Like,
Let's go.
everything NYC. Like, we're on the map, for
Absolutely.
sure. And I was about to say you could just go ahead and lead this, because I feel like every question I'm about to offer, you go and say something about it. So my next question is about joy, because that has been something that we have been hitting on in the community, like Black joy. I feel like Black joy is the thing that's been robbed from all of us, right? And in our youth, a lot of us have had to be raised in spaces and had to grow up early. Sam talked about being in the church, like the church was that catalyst in a lot of places, some good experiences, some bad. So what does Black joy mean to you? And we're going to start off with you, Us. Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that Black joy, to me, it means freedom, right? Like the opportunity to be fully expressed as you are, right? And also, I think when we talk about freedom, we miss the opportunity for discovery. And so I think Black joy also looks like discovering who you are in whatever state you are. You know, I can give you a story about that because I want to celebrate the other kings on this line as well. You know, when I was experiencing a rather dark time of my creative journey, I connected with a brother who has been on this show in the past, and shout out to him. His name is Brandon Gibson. And just a wonderful, phenomenal Black king. And during that time, I confided in Brandon Gibson about spaces where I could find my creativity, where I could focus on work. And the space that Brandon Gibson suggested was Sam Pierre's co-working space. And that space reinvigorated creative strategy in my mind, because it was designed for individuals who are looking to build their futures, right? And so Black joy looks like me being able to find myself and my work inside of the work of another Black king. And then that work be reciprocated. I've met artists on the path that have come through Sam's spot, that have come to work, you know, with me and the work that I do in arts and entertainment, and it be a moment of collective joy, right? So to me, Black boy joy is collaboration, it is discovery, it is expression at the highest good, it is knowing oneself, and it is being able to share that with the world.
No, I'm gonna vote for True. All right, whatever he's running for, I'll vote for him. I'll write a check.
That's
Right,
it.
He just said that. Somebody said in the Bell Ray said full circle, like bringing it full circle, like bringing out past, bringing it into our present. So we gonna pass it over to you, Sam. What's Black joy to you?
So for me, now True said it all, but for me, I think Black joy is, I think of just having the freedom to just be, right?
Yeah.
I think about having the freedom to be, right? I have a 3-year-old, and I think about how, like, he's not worried about anything, right? Like, he's not worried about the different things that life, piles on you as an African American, as a Black man, and he's not worried about that. He's living a life where he's just having fun and just enjoying his life and having joy, right? So when I think about that freedom of expression, the freedom to be, the freedom to not have to worry about, what's happening in this world, it's not going to clamp, or it's not going to, bring down who you are. But once you start to like, once you know you start to get older, right? You start getting responsibilities, that joy starts to kind of fade away, right? But but having the ability to find that joy again, right? Even after with the responsibilities and the bills and all that stuff happening, being able to find that space and that freedom to just be, right? And that freedom to just say, okay, you know what, today I'm not going to do 7,000 things. Today I'm going to go to the park, right? And do absolutely nothing, right? I think for me, I think that's joy because now you have the freedom to just exist. And I think that's something that I don't think a lot of black men have, right? They have to exist, they have to provide, they have to, you know, be here, they have to be present, they always have to do. I think real black joy comes from a place where where you've done all those things because they are important, but now you have the freedom to just exist, to breathe, and to be.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was reminded last week we had a conversation about COVID, and you talking about your son being 3 years old and the joy that you experienced from him. And I remember during COVID, during Black Lives Matter, and having to have the conversation with my then 6 year old child about like what police brutality was and what violence was, and how he has to position himself when he engages with a police officer as he grows up. And that just reminded me, I was like, I felt like I was stripping away all of his joy, like all of his childlikeness, all of his innocence. And all too much as Black men, I feel like that's put on you all very early on, in spaces that you have to, you have to be the protector. You know, the father's not in the home. You could be 8 years old, and it's like, all right, now you the man of the house, and it's like, I'm 8. I don't know what it is to be a kid. And you talk about now I got to be the man. Like what, you know, that the responsibility, the weight that carries, and then how that goes into your adult age, because you get into this space where it's like, I never got the opportunity to be a child. So now that I'm adult, I want to play. I want to be free to create, to have errors. Like True said, you know, it's like, I don't, you know, being able to be in spaces and to make a mistake and it be okay. Like that doesn't show up for us. We in the Black community, men and women alike, don't get that opportunity to just say, I messed up, and you know, okay, let me learn from it and let me move on. You know, so I appreciate you brothers for both bringing that up, and sharing that in the space. Angus, we're gonna pass it over to you. What does Black joy mean to you?
Look, the way it seems as though it went in the whole cycle like a framework. True, he laid out the grassroots with what he was speaking about. He went deep. It's about, you know, tapping into the inner self, that the spiritual being, the whole self, the physical being, and the circles that you're in. And then we have Sam that kind of brought it into the fruition of just the different spaces that fathers, Black men, shall I say, could be in, and the joy that comes out of doing the things that they love best. So, what I'm tapping into is a nuanced approach to how do we arrive in that space, because as we know, systems and societies have been created on our backs, and they rely on us to continue this oppressive model so that they can advance their goal. But what we need to do is recreate our systems so that it's not such that way. Once we open the door and understand how to maximize our yield as a human being, the way that governments have been able to do so, especially off the backs of insurance, life insurance, whole life insurance, where you can borrow against as your personal bank account, as a way for us to level the playing field. We can get, if we understand it correctly, we can have our policy writers put together a policy where we're paying for our health care. Well, that's free health care. That's one of our worries and struggles, which brings aging and stress to us. They can pay for our housing, which is the rent or ownership, shall I say more so. You can purchase, own, and then you be free of that. And then if you learn how to capital stack these models on top of things like community land trust, family trust, and things of that nature, you hold on to your wealth, your generational proprietary ideas and gifts that your family puts into the community, puts into the village, shall I say. Let me take that, because there's a difference between a community and a village. The village is a place where it's fulfilling and everybody has a place, everybody has a purpose. The community, there's spaces only for those that can contribute to it and those that they're looking to feed into the contribution system. That means our seniors don't matter. And we see it time and time again as the rights that they fought for in the 60s and in the 50s, the baby boomers, is being stripped away as they right now as they are retiring. They're being left with no way to move themselves forward and sustain themselves. So what does Black joy look like to me? Black joy looks like us supporting each other to be in this village system that we educate, we train, and we build each other up so that we know these plays, that we know how we as an average Joe in the community can benefit from these opportunities, because we stray away from it because we just look at it as death benefits. And why am I paying for something all my life, preparing for death, and I'm not living life? It's backwards.
That's right.
And I'm complete.
That was yeah, we were talking about the whole idea yesterday about the village versus the community, and I was like, yeah, we have to get back to our village mentality where everybody stood for a purpose, everyone held a purpose in this space, and the community was the external, like that was the people who the village took care of. So knowing the difference in using, and even in my own self, changing my wording for that. So thank you, Angus, for bringing that back around. So you all kind of talked about where you all are now, what you, but no man is an island, right? We never stand alone. So whose back, should I say, did you stand on? Who do you see as someone that you, a leader, or someone that you feel like helped you overcome, or helped you, was I don't like to use the word idol, because I feel like we should never idol anyone, right? But definitely someone who is giving you inspiration. And I'm gonna start with you, Angus.
Wow. One of, and this one is going to be a funny one, but one of my biggest inspirations is Channel 13. Reason be it, the shows that came on there was like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When Mr. McFeely came to pop in that tape, I just knew I was learning something that I was not going to be taught in school. I knew I'm going to learn how, well, I didn't know, but afterwards I figured out how cassette tapes were made, found out how crayons was made, found out how they purified and cleaned water, how they recycled and upcycled. So, and this was in the 90s when, for me, it was far-fetched. But I was also one of those kids that was labeled the garbage picker because I went around the community picking in people's garbages. But the benefit of that was I was the only kid in about a 5-block radius that had a computer, because I was able to understand how to put the pieces together with no formal education or anything, just playing around, getting shocked and everything. But that just brought something back to me as a person in real life that influenced me. Didn't have much physical presence in my life, but my father. A lot of some of those physical traits I realized that I got from him, and watching him fix the washing machine when the cord popped or something, or my mother relying on him and just saying, "Oh, my husband could do anything. He could build a whole house. He could recreate this and that." To me, was prideful because it shows that you can make nothing. You can make something out of nothing, and it opened the door for me to just be the creative person that I am, figuring out solutions, because knowing that I'm moving through the education system, and I'm seeing the opportunities that's out there from other spaces and places. I'm seeing, well, what's the gap? Why isn't it this being offered to me? Why isn't it in my community? Why isn't it in my hometown? This could benefit us. So it was just this fulfilling of the gap, the void, which made my mind so strategic and just filling in gaps. I meet with someone and build business plans with them instantly off of their concerns and issues that they have. Because if any real business culture anybody know, businesses are formed from a crisis or from a situation. You
Mhm.
form a business in order to solve a problem.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay, Channel 13. All right.
Yeah.
I
You
love
can't
it.
forget about Sesame Street and Big
You
Bird, and
can't.
look, you can't forget about them. They 1, 2, 3.
I know. Reading Rainbow was my thing. Reading Rainbow.
Yes,
I can do anything for sure. And that was
it's
very
possible.
empowering. So I appreciate that. Sam, I'm gonna pass it over to you. What was your inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, I have, I'm a huge mentor guy. And actually, while I was watching the program you had with my best friend Brandon Gibson on here, he talked about, you have to, be with someone where, follow someone that's at the place of where you want to be, right? So I'm a huge mentor guy. So you got guys like Samuel Nicholas, right? I have a government and politics background, and there's a lot of people, right? People get to see the face, right? So you see Mom Donnie, you see the mayor, but then there's actual people who actually are running the city, right? So those running the city guys were guys that were mentors to me. Samuel Nicholas, Reverend Samuel Nicholas, he, I'm Haitian American, so he was one of the first Haitian Americans to actually hold some, a government, an appointed position. So when he was a part of the community board, so he really understood how to like really develop a community. That was always my goal. How do we develop, the Haitian community? And that's what we do with my nonprofit, right? How do we think about the next 5 to 10, 15 years of the Haitian population here, right? Immigrants come to America and people are just like, okay, immigrants are here in America, not realizing that immigrants are having children who are now American, right? So their children are American, but their children do not have an American experience,
That's
right?
right.
So they're having an immigrant experience, but they're literally American. So
That's right.
what's the plan for that child of that immigrant? There's no plan. It's just like, all right, we're here. It is what it is, right? So
Mhm.
our organization, Haitian American Caucus, we're creating plans for and and not just Haitian Americans, right? All immigrants. We're creating plans 10, 15, 20, 30 years from here. How are they going to be sustainable? So you had mentors like Samuel Nicholas, right? I have another mentor, Al Wilshire, who was the chief of staff for Congress member Ed Towns, who was
Yeah.
a Congress member I worked for before Hakeem Jeffries. So we all know Hakeem Jeffries, but Ed Towns was the Congress member before Hakeem. And Al Wilshire was his chief of staff who mentored me to really teach me how policy can really impact our communities, right? And then you have people like Wilson Desir. He was actually that, back in the 90s, there were no Haitian American politicians at all, right? It's hard to imagine now because we have so many, but there were no elected officials that were focused on the Haitian population. And he basically filled that gap. He had a multi-service office, and people had issues, they went to Wilson Desir's office, right? So I got a chance to kind of learn and see that, right? So for me, who ended up becoming, someone who was appointed in positions and served in leadership roles in government and politics and put people in place, right? So that we can have 6+ elected officials now, right? And having a hand in that, right? I had to stand on people like Wilson Daisy and Samuel Nicholas and his father, Bishop Nicholas and Al Wilshire, to really guide the path and show me, this did work, this didn't work. A smart person, learns. A smart person learns, but a wise person, right? They literally soak it up and they don't make the same mistakes as the other people. So really teaching me how to do that. So those are a few of the mentors of men, right? Strong black men who were like manly men, right? Who was like, listen, this is how I got to get done, right? And they pushed me, they shoved me, they threw me in the fire, right? And I was able to come out, refined because of their leadership and because they saw something in me that I couldn't see for myself. So I pay homage to gentlemen like that.
Yeah, Sam, I really appreciate that point, because a lot of times in even in this process, right, we called up all of the men and we're like, you have been nominated or you've been honored. Looking to honor you. And they're like, who, me? Like, why me? Like, I didn't see me being that person. I'm like, yes, why not you? Like, so having people pour in, see from the outside. So I'm glad that they saw something within you that was like, nah, bro, you got this. So Sam, ça passe. I love it. I am also a child of an immigrant, firstborn here. So my mother is from Venezuela by way of Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago. And so a lot of that also, the coming here and wanting to forget a lot about your culture because you wanted to assimilate to America and fit in and all of those things. So really that part of identifying or finding your identity is always, I feel like, the space that is needed as well. So I am grateful for you and the work that you're doing, helping those first and second generation individuals and third just kind of find place here. So thank you for that. And pass it over to you, True.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, again, just phenomenal to be up here with you gentlemen and with you, Athenia. The men that have inspired me and have moved me, I mean, I think that's happened in tiers throughout my life. The first being my own father, and my grandfather, and the men of my family, my uncles, my brother, my cousins. I think we get to honor the presence of the family, especially like when talking about Juneteenth, is that it is the frame. We talked about framework, Angus, right? Like it's the framework of any culture, right? Is like, where do we develop that set of core beliefs, at the impetus of our lives? And I think that the family is the foundation of that space. And so I'm really honored to have a really great relationship with my father, Charles Osborne Jr. And I got to know my grandfather, Charles Osborne Sr., before, he passed away. And so they have left an indelible mark on me, right? And about the kind of man I get to be. My father is very, I think he's a genius. He wouldn't say that himself. He's one of those men that's like, who, me? But he's the kind of guy that'll like make a battery out of an igloo cooler, or like a charging port. Like he'll use whatever he can and create something phenomenal. And I love that Angus brought that up earlier about trash diggers, right? Because those were the first artists, right? Like even if we look at Sam's conversation about creating access for immigrant American, children and families in general, right? Is that they're bringing over a rich sense of self. They're bringing over practices, experiences, stories, right? That are literally beginning a tapestry of who they get to be in a new space. And, my Crucian and Puerto Rican father, kind of left that in me. And then I think that throughout life, I got introduced to other men, pastors, throughout my life, Pastor Torrance Robinson, Pastor Vernell Robinson, and the various pastors that came after them, like even Pastor Tyrone Stevenson, Pastor Paul B. Mitchell, and another pastor who is actually being honored within this gala as well, Pastor Micah Ransom, who has been my most recent mentor in community leadership. He's just a phenomenal man, someone with a heart for community, someone who really knows what it means to suffer for those he loves. And I love that kind of leadership. I love the kind of leadership where you go through the battle, you go through the war for the people that you are advocating for, because I think that we are at a very critical stage, and have been for a while now, where no one has people who will fight for them anymore. You know, everyone has been conditioned to advocate for themselves, which is good to an extent, right? Because we need independence, but not independence to the point of isolation. I think that communities grow at their best when we gather together and when we lift our voices in unity, when we gather to have one unified message. And so other mentors that helped me to understand that as my mission were gentlemen like Jeffrey Canada, the founder of the Harlem Children's Zone. I was born and raised in Harlem, and so I love to celebrate what got me to this point to understand community at this level. And it was men like James Horton, who's now working at the Harlem School of the Arts as their executive director, just a phenomenal leader for me, someone who taught me that it was okay to be a creative and be a professional at the same time. You know, a lot of people have creative gifts, but they don't know that those creative gifts can lead to lucrative careers and can lead to massive level, international level impact when there's a character to back it up, when there's a strategy and a need being met. I love that you brought that up earlier, Angus, is that businesses are designed to meet needs, right? To solve problems, to become solutions, you know, for challenges that are being faced throughout this world. And so creatives are now finding ways, because of the advent of the digital age, right, to now be solution creators, right? To not just be influencers, but to be impactors, right, of their generation. And so I'm looking to rally behind those artists, those creatives, and be their mentor in this season, so that one day they'll come on a show like this and, you know, and say, yeah, my mentor was True Osborne. You know, he was someone who helped me believe in creativity. And so I honor my fathers, I honor my bosses, I honor my teachers and my leaders for the ways that they've brought me to this point of creative leadership. With that, I'm complete. Thank you, Athena.
Come on, True. My mentor was True Osborne. I think all of us operate in that space when we're talking about the village that we're looking to raise behind us, people who poured into us, and how we get to pour into others.
That's right.
So I thank you for bringing that into the space and just sharing that, because whether we want to adhere to it, realize it, accept it, we are the mentors of our youth. So being able to do that for those coming behind us.
Athenia, if you will, before we move on, I'd just like to honor just one more person in my life. I've always been kind of a frail guy as an artist, and I had a brother who biologically were cousins, but we grew up as brothers, and his name was Joey Osborne, Joseph Osborne, and he passed away, unfortunately. But his mom is on this opportunity right now. She's watching with us, and I want to celebrate him in this moment. He was known to the community as Soho Joe, and he was a fitness expert, community leader, youth advocate. And I just want to celebrate the man that I am today. He's my family member, but to everyone else, he was someone who poured into the world around him. And I think that when we speak about family being the first pillar, right, that we get to kind of pause for a moment and really take these times to give people their flowers. He's no longer with us, but she is. And so, Chantel, thank you for the ways that you raised me to be a Black king. And I appreciate that through your son, Joey. Thank you so much, Athenia, for the opportunity to take this.
Awesome. Thank you. And that's what it's all about, paying it forward, pouring into others, using the stage, not always to just highlight ourselves. I feel like we get highlighted and we get amplified more when we pour into others. So thank you, because that shows that much more of who you are as a person.
Right. Athenia, I'm so sorry, but one last quick thing. Everybody talked about their dad. If somebody sends my dad this video, I'm not gonna have him kill me. So yeah.
Say his name, brother. Say his name.
Bring him in his face.
Definitely Pastor Bernard M. Pierre.
Yeah.
right? Who had this thing called Be a Men School,
Yeah.
right? That me and my brothers all had to go through. Be a Men School. We had to wake up at 5 a.m. and plant. So if I know how to plant like tomatoes and like all sorts of flowers and all that stuff because of my dad. So definitely an inspiration and leadership. I'm not gonna catch any strays, so yep, Bernard and Pierre.
He got a right hook waiting for you, Sam.
Never late. That's all I say. Never late.
Yeah.
You got it in. You got it in. I'm gonna go into the next question. We're just talking about balancing, right? The balancing act of it all. Being a community member, being a son, a child of God, being like all of the things. How do you balance it all? And I'm gonna start with you, Sam.
Well, questions like that, I'm the wrong guy to ask, right? Because there, me and my wife have this thing. Well, one day, hopefully, we plan to write this book, and the title of the book is "There's No Such Thing as Equilibrium," right? Because it doesn't exist. Equilibrium is like there's no such thing, right? If you're, unless you want to do one thing, right? If you're gonna do one thing, sure, absolutely. But if you're a multi hyphenated anything, you can't balance it, right? Because one you got to take from one child to give to the other. The time that you're giving this child, the other child is not getting the nourishment that that it needs, right? So trying to figure out how to, okay, I didn't give this child food for 2 weeks. All right, let me go focus on this child. But that child is not going to be happy over there, right? So I don't believe in that word. What I do believe in is grounding yourself, right? And pacing yourself. Okay, I'm going to ground myself. I'm going to pace myself. So if I'm a part of a board of an organization, I know that they have board meetings once a quarter. Okay, I'll get ready for that board meeting 2 weeks before the board meeting happens. All right. Okay, I know I did that part. All right. So I'm the music director of my church, right? Church ain't till Sunday. Okay, so I know I got to Thursday to look at the songs that they sent. I'm not looking at any songs until Thursday or Friday night. Ain't no way. So I'm not looking at any songs until Thursday or Friday night, maybe Saturday, right? It may be Sunday on my way to church. I'm learning the songs, right? This is just what it is, right? So like having to, having to pace myself so we can make it happen. I'm sorry. Like I said, yeah, certain questions you can't ask me. I'm gonna keep it 100. Right.
But
So
I think you said it earlier too, where you was like just going to the park and just like, it just not doing anything.
Yeah, because if you are a multi hyphenate anything, like if you're like father, son, brother, creative, right? You're trying to write a book, you have a business that you're doing, and then you're part of a nonprofit, and you're part of the church, and you're part of the women's ministry. There's no way. Right. And then you have a day job, right? And then you have a night job. Oh, and then you're a professor. Like, come on. Right. There's no way. Right. So my thing is
multi-hyphenated anything.
Yeah, my fraternity brother taught me that word, and I've been using it all the time. Like, if you're a multi-hyphenated anything, there's no such thing as balance. It's just a matter of pacing yourself so that you can figure these things out. Like I have a new thing now where three things, right? For everything that I'm doing or anything I'm a part of, for the week, I just need to do 3. If I can get 3 things done for all these things in that week, I had a great week, right? And sometimes it doesn't happen, believe it or not. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes there's only one, right? So if I can get 3 things done for all the things that I'm a part of, then I feel like I'm moving the needle forward, right? So balance doesn't exist in my household. Me and my wife, everything we joke, we call it equilibrium. So, I'll look at her and she'll look at me and she'll be like, yeah, equilibrium doesn't exist. I already understand what she's saying. She doesn't have to explain anything else, right? That means like it really doesn't. And, hopefully we'll write that book and we'll make millions.
Come on with it. I'm looking. We looking out for that book.
You just did the first promo for it, so you
right. Now we gotta write it. Now we gotta actually write it. Now
you put it into the atmosphere.
You put it into the ethos. So God is like, come with it. Let's do it. So I love that, and you have your village here to be your first starters, your seed for sure. So thank you, Sam, for sharing that. Multi-hyphenated everything. All right, True. I'm gonna pass it over to you. Oh, that
Yeah,
rhyme. Hey,
I
true. Pass it over to you. All
I
right. Go
love
ahead.
that. I think that we don't balance. I think that life balances us. So I kind of resonate with what Sam said. My life is a whirlwind in the sense that I'm doing a million. I am one of those multi hyphenated anythings, and I always have like a million tabs open at one time. But all that's taught me, we celebrated Black fathers, but this part of my brain, I have to give full credit to my Black mother. You know, she's a woman of systems, a social worker, Anita Osborne, and I'm really honored to be her son because she taught me that you can be as creative as you want to be, but without a system, your creativity has nothing to stand on. And so, like, and that's a mother's lesson if I've never heard one before. It's like, yeah, you're cute, but that's not enough. It's like you got to be able to change a tire on a car, right? Like, you got to be able to pay a bill. You got to be able to live your life. And so I want to honor her for that because what she taught me was how to compartmentalize my projects or how to compartmentalize my life so that there's always room for the things that keep me going. Right. And so sometimes that just means that it is compartmentalized into a 10-minute block or a 30-minute block or a 45-minute block or a 60 to 90-minute block. But there's a system that you can develop for the life you live. And it may not look like anyone else's system. And I think that life will balance you in that way where it'll say this year you have 4 projects on your plate, then you need to sacrifice 25% of who you are to those 4 projects respectfully. And within that, you need to know that a part of your core competency for self is self-care, right? Is recovery, is rest, right? The things that you cannot function without on a basic Maslow hierarchy of needs level, right? Is that you have to be well. I'm not an advocate for burnout at all. And the Masterpiece Society is really passionate about supporting creatives and learning how to be the full artist that you are without burnout being your narrative for creative production. It's unfair to you and to the people that get to benefit from the work you create. And that's not just limited to artists either. Again, I think that all of us are creating something, right? And so I like to maybe shift that to creators, right? It's for all creators, those who are looking to leave a thumbprint on this planet. And impact those in a way that, shows that we are standing together. So no, I don't balance my life, but I learned how to be in flow with it and I learned how to strategize for it. Thank you for this time.
Yeah, thank you, True. Make it flow. I love it. Angus, we're going to pass it over to you.
Can I get the question again? Because Drew had me engulfed. I was like, hold on, I need to take some notes on this right here because I definitely I feel that vibe. But can you reiterate the question for me, please?
Now you got me forgot the question.
How do you balance
right? That's what we're talking about.
All the things that you're doing. You're a community activist, you're a community builder, you're a programs developer, you're a systems developer, you work on community boards, you serve. Angus, you're the guy to know. If
you know.
I was like, hold on, he's talking about me.
And so, like, how do you balance that, or how do you approach balance within that way? I told you I'm really honored to be on this with these particular guys today because I've seen them work. And so it's really easy to celebrate them because I know what they do.
Absolutely.
Nice. So I could definitely take it from there. Wow. So hold on. Do I even have to talk? Like, hold on, True, you did that.
How do you balance who you are?
But for me, balancing is one of those things that I'm constantly looking for. I'm constantly reimagining because imagine yourself as a person that possibly walks out into society day in and day out, and you see the problems that are going on. The way my mind goes, within that first hour of me stepping out the door, I already created a business because I'm seeing a problem that a solution just hasn't been created and nobody's working on it.
There you
So
go.
it's as simple as the trash pickup on our block, where the city is trying different ways, but there's proven ways that work, from underground tunnels that you just put your trash in and it goes to a certain place. Then you have it recycled to upcycled and then backwards, so that the landfills don't get any of it. All of it gets turned into something that's upcycled back into society that we use and we manifest and we make happen. So organizing my staying organized and being able to balance the things that I do, like you said, True. It's and that rhymes like it's one of those things that life kind of throws you these curveballs, or throws you these moments and opportunities where you have to kind of navigate within it and show your strengths, your superpowers, to come through it, or to see if that's actually something for you. I was on the community board for 14 years, and just last year I took a step back, not because I had to, because I needed to. And it was just understanding where you can take a step back and be more impactful from a distance. And I'm realizing that since I've stepped off, I've actually been more impactful being a committee member, having more flexibility to maneuver in the community realm and not being bound by the processes of the systems. So I'm as much as they want me back and everything on the board, it has to be for a reason. It has to be pivotal. It has to lock into the forward movement going up, because at this current moment, I'm able to have a wider reach with less strings and not have to worry about compliance, or can I interact with that person because, conflict of interest. So it definitely opens up the realm of creativity and collective engagement more, because when I speak, we kind of gather, I always gather people together, and there's certain key factors when having a conversation. You always want to enlighten someone. You always want to have them think, and you want to always have them remember you after the conversation is over. So what is it that you're intentionally doing in that conversation to bring forward the next step, the actionable movements?
Thank you, Angus. Yeah. I mean, I've brought a lot of great things as far as being actionable, taking steps back, being grounded, creating systems, using all of those things to be able to quote unquote balance what it is that you all are doing in this world and making your stamp. We are already almost at the hour, so I want to say thank you. Before we close out, I'm going to ask you all to share one last thing, but I do want to just highlight our Black King celebration. Like I said, this is just a microcosm of the dope men that are going to be in the room on June the 18th. So when I say if you don't know, then you need to know. Get your tickets to be a part of this event. It's going to be some amazing food. You're going to have some great entertainment. Food is going to be just, I can't wait. Like I'm already licking my fingers, ready to take a plate home. So, but this is just going to be an amazing time. This is our 5th time doing it. Black Kings again is just an opportunity for us to really celebrate our men, celebrate the work that they have done, the work that they continue to do, how they continue to serve and pour in, and to be an example to our young people. So this is a family-friendly event. Children will be in the room, and we are looking forward to the networking and the relationships that come out of this. I have seen so much from this grow, and I'm looking forward to more and more of it. So thank you. I just wanted to say that because I know some people are going to have to hop off. And so let's close this out with this last question. What does Juneteenth mean to you? And I'm going to start this off with you, Sam.
Yeah, Juneteenth is just a reminder. I think Juneteenth is a reminder of what we really had to go through to get our freedom, right? I think of and history, right? I'm a history guy. I think history is important so that it can either be repeated or not be repeated, right? So I think Juneteenth is a reminder of the policy, right? I think a lot of people get mixed up into the fun of Juneteenth, but let's talk about the policy side of Juneteenth to remind us that the only way that we will have change in our community is through policy. Period, point blank. So for me, Juneteenth means a policy change is why I have my freedom today, because the policy before did not give me freedom. The policy before said I was 2/3 of a man. The policy before said I couldn't drink the same water fountain as other people. The policy before said I had to be separate but equal. The policy before had so many restrictions on me. And the only reason I can purchase property now, the only reason I can marry whoever I want to marry, the only reason I can elect whoever I want to elect is because of a policy. So Juneteenth reminds me that policy is the way that we can change our community.
Come on, Sam. That was a great way to say go out there and vote, y'all. Like that was I love that. I love that.
And I gotta give one quick shout out before I leave to my boy William Hazel, who has been working with me on this, on doing all this kind of stuff for a very, very long time. So shout out to my brother Will, man.
Yes.
Awesome. The policy change. I love that. Angus, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Yes, yes, yes. What does Juneteenth mean to me? Juneteenth, Juneteenth is a call to action. It's not stating that the fight is over. It's not saying that we have arrived at true freedom, but it's saying that we have the multitudes on board with knowledge and know-how so that they can move the needle forward. Juneteenth is the freedom delayed that we so deeply speak about and look for, that's been stripped away from us for so long. It's the local heritage here in the United States, showing that slavery is hidden in the nooks and crannies of the spaces that we aren't really looking at and that doesn't have a light shined on them. So I'm pretty sure there's somewhere in America that you can go to where you can see that slavery is still probably happening with some, and even slavery doesn't look the same for all. So let me just point that out there, because we're speaking about Black slavery, but there's slavery still happening with some of our Asian individuals, our Africans, and even some of our Middle Easterns. So when we think of that, it all comes together to answer that question of what does Juneteenth mean to me, and that's that collective fight for true freedom moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you, Angus. That true fight for freedom. All right, True, I'm gonna pass it to you to close us out.
Thank you so much, Athenia. To me, Juneteenth is really about permission. It's about the permission to be fully realized, the permission to be exactly who you choose to be, and then to allow that self to impact a community, prayerfully your local community, something that is close to you, something that is around you, even if you're a transplant coming from somewhere else. Juneteenth is about celebrating the resilience of Black culture, right? Of your people, of who you are. It's about education. It's about preparing yourself with knowledge, information, collaboration, with joining yourself up with the people around you so that you can make your mark, so that you can understand that you are already a masterpiece, that everything that you're looking for, all the partnerships, all the opportunities, all the faith and hope that you're looking for can be found in the people right next to you. Because Juneteenth is about community. It's about joining together, each one teach one. It's about linking arms and figuring out how can I help the person next to me to get to their next level, to get to who they're supposed to be, while simultaneously discovering the best parts of myself and how I bring that into this world. It's about taking risks. Again, yeah, risks to the point where everything changes, everything around you changes, risks to the point where they name a day after your efforts. And don't forget, it's about effort and not perfection, right? And so let those efforts be a marker or a guidepost to the fact that you already have everything you need inside of you. The only thing you're missing is what Juneteenth really stands for. And that's more of who you already are, right? More people just like you, more mirrors. And so Juneteenth is about us.
I love that. Come on, Juneteenth, everything. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate you all for joining and for sharing your stories and a little bit about yourselves. And not just this is what I do, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
Because we are more than just what we do. And I wanted to get at the heart of that in this conversation. Everyone seemed to have loved it. I'm seeing all of the great comments coming into the chat. So we love you all for joining us. Again, we're here every Thursday for our Lunch and Learns at 12. So we hope that you join us. Please like and follow us. Please like and follow each of our Black Kings. All of their information is coming up in the chat. Men, I'm going to release you because it is after 1. And thank you again for your time while I close this out.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Athena. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to working with you guys soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you all.
Please make sure you take some time and go check out JuneteenthNYC.com, correct?
NY.
And NY.com. Go and purchase your tickets to the Black Kings Gala. You still have time. If you want a table, they have table rates. 10 to a table. We can't wait to see you guys there. We're going to have a great time.
Absolutely. Thank you. See, I said, True going to be my co-host. That's what we're going to need to do. We got you. True. Have a good one. So as I close this out, while the men go backstage, I just want to say this stories remind us that excellence is not a destination. It is a daily practice. As you saw and you heard, they talked about a commitment and growth, a commitment to community, a commitment to purpose, a commitment to being a part of a tribe. So as we continue celebrating Juneteenth, may we honor those who came before us, because we cannot do anything if it were not for them, and to know that we then become the ancestors someday. So being able to leave your thumbprint, as the gentleman said today, on the world, so that others can follow in your footsteps. May we lead with courage, serve with humility, and build legacies rooted in justice, opportunity, and love. Thank you to our gentlemen. This is what Black excellence looks like, y'all. It is not perfect, but it is what we are. That is what leadership looks like. And this is what it means to be kings in leadership. We hope to see you on next Thursday at our Black King celebration. We love you. My name is Athena Rodney, CEO of Juneteenth. Have a blessed one, everyone. Have a great one. Good weekend.
Let me ask you something. How long have you been doing the work, but still not living the life that you want? My name is Dr. Dre Cleveland, your personal power coach, and the founder of Girl, Get Your Life Together. I take Black women on a journey through healing, self-love, and self-mastery so that they can manifest the life, the dreams, the goals that they desire most. And I wrote this book, Black Girls Manifest, for the Black woman who's ready to stop wishing and to actually hold her dreams in her hands, starting now. This isn't just a book. Black Girls Manifest is a transformation guide. Inside, you'll find mirror work, mindset shifts, and real tools that will help you to release what's been holding you back so you can step into your next level. Because you look like you have it all together, but deep down, you're still carrying emotional weight, self-doubt, and patterns that just won't break. This work is here to help you heal, to help you love yourself more fully, and to help you to become the version of yourself that the next level of your life is calling in. And if you're ready to go deeper, the 7-day mirror work activation will start you on this work so you can feel the shift instead of just reading about it. So visit getblackgirlsmanifest.com and start the activation now. Or you can see me at my booth and you can scan the QR code there. Either way, come see me because I want to see you in person and give you a hug and some encouragement, because your next version, she's waiting, but she's not coming unless you do.